I only saw him in mirrors. Never in real life, yet we shared the same house. The compound at 3 Okeola Crescent was the kind of building you'd pass without a second glance. Faded yellow walls, a creaky black gate, and an overgrown pawpaw tree shading the compound's only water tank. But to a broke 24-year-old Youth Corps member like me, it was paradise. I had just been posted to Akure for NYSC. My PPA offered no accommodation, so I hustled through house agent WhatsApp groups until I found it. Self-contained room with kitchen and toilet, affordable, steady water, prepaid light. What they didn't add comes with a ghost for a roommate. The agent, Mr. Coyote, met me at the gate. He was fidgety, hands stuffed into his Agbada pockets like he was hiding something. "You say you need it today?" he asked. "Yes, sir," I replied. "My things are outside in the cab." He nodded quickly. "Room 3 is available, upstairs. Just one other tenant in the building." That was a lie. There were 3 other tenants, but I didn't know that yet. The first strange thing happened on my second night. I was brushing my teeth when I glanced at the mirror. There, behind me, was a young man, dark-skinned, broad shoulders, shirtless, standing at the kitchen door like he belonged there. I turned immediately. Nothing. I laughed awkwardly. "God a bego. Sleep day catch me." But the next day, I saw him again, in the wardrobe mirror. He sat cross-legged on the bed, staring at me. Same neutral expression. No menace, no movement. Just presence. Each time I turned, and the room was empty. By the 5th night, I stopped looking in mirrors. It was 2:14 a.m. I remember the time because my phone lit up with it when I jolted awake. My fan was off. The air was thick. Then I heard it. "Tig tig tig," a subtle tongue click. From inside the kitchen, I held my breath. Then again, "Tukuka tukuko," the kind of sound Yoruba mothers make when you do something foolish. I reached under my pillow and grabbed my flashlight. "Hello." No reply. I tiptoed toward the kitchen and swung the flashlight beam like a weapon. My sink, kettle, and single pot stood silent. But on the wall, just above the gas cylinder, someone had used palm ash to draw a crude face. Wide eyes, a stitched mouth. It wasn't there before. I decided to confide in the only other tenant who ever acknowledged me, Auntie Dupe, a middle-aged woman who sold Ankara wrappers from her front room and blasted gospel music every morning. "Auntie, I want to ask something. That room 3, has anyone died there before?" She paused. Her eyes shifted from me to her steaming pot of beans. "Why do you ask?" I hesitated. "I think something is in there with me." She sighed. "You're not the first to say that. Last girl that rented that room, Blessing, ran out screaming one night. Said someone touched her chest while she slept." My mouth went dry. "And the agent still rents it out?" Dupe shook her head. "That man doesn't fear God. Just pray. Maybe your own spirit is strong." She handed me a small bottle of anointing oil. "Rub it on all the mirrors, especially the wardrobe." That night, I followed her advice. I rubbed the oil and said Psalm 91 aloud. But as I smeared oil on the wardrobe mirror, I noticed something odd. Letters, faint, like someone had used a blade to scratch them into the wood. I leaned in. Kabir. Kabir. That was the name of the man I kept seeing. I didn't know how I knew it. I just knew. Determined to know more, I faked a complaint and called Mr. Coyote. "Sir, the light in my kitchen keeps tripping." He arrived reluctantly and avoided stepping into the room. As we fiddled with the fuse box, I pushed. "Who stayed in this room before me?" He paused. "Ah, that was a long time ago. You don't need to worry." "Was his name Kabir?" He turned sharply. "How do you know that?" I lied. "One of the tenants mentioned him." Coyote swallowed hard. "He was my cousin. Stayed here while job hunting. Quiet boy, but he changed." "Changed how?" "He started talking to mirrors, complaining of someone watching him. Then one night he cut himself, bled to death in the kitchen. We found him days later." My stomach turned. "Did you cleanse the room? Pray? Call a pastor?" Coyote looked away. The house is old. Things happen. That night I sat in the room with all the mirrors covered in Ankara wrappers. Still, I felt him. I sat on the floor and whispered, Kabir, I know you're here. I'm not your enemy. Silence. Then from the wardrobe mirror, I was forgotten. It wasn't a voice in my ear. It was in my mind. They buried my body, but they left me here. I was frozen. Why are you in my space? I didn't know, I whispered. I'm just a corper. Then leave. I can't. I have nowhere else to go. Then help me. The next morning, I packed a small bag and went to my PPA distracted. On returning, the door was ajar. On the mirror, written in palm oil, was a message. Free me. Find her. Who? That night, Kabir spoke again. The girl, Moreo. She cursed me before I died. Who is Moreo? My ex. I wronged her. But she bound me here. Go to Araromi Street, ask for the herb woman. The next day, I went. Araromi Street was a noisy, cramped market lane. At the end, I found a mud-colored bungalow with faded kauri curtains. Inside, a blind woman with white eyes sat behind trays of dried leaves. You carry spirit, she said before I spoke. I need help. Someone is trapped. She nodded. Kabir. My knees buckled slightly. His sin was betrayal. The girl loved him. He slept with her sister and laughed about it. The girl did what women in pain sometimes do. She cursed. Can it be undone? She handed me a pouch. Bury this at midnight, where blood touched the floor. Then speak his full name. Release him. I waited. At 12:03 a.m., I laid the pouch under the kitchen tiles. One loose tile still had a rust-colored stain. I lit a candle and whispered, Kabir Adeolu Olatunji, you are released. The flame flickered violently. Suddenly, the mirrors rattled. A loud wailing filled the room, not from outside, but from within the glass. Then, silence. The temperature rose. The air lightened. I looked in the mirror. It was empty. For the first time, truly empty. 1 year later. I finished NYSC, got a job in Lagos. Life moved on. Sometimes I think of Kabir, of how one room can trap a soul, of how hurt people can become prisons for others, even after death. And every time I pass an old building, I wonder, how many housemates are never seen, yet still live among us?